Well, hello guys, welcome back to Barum Engines. Going to be a very interesting one today, guys. I've got loads of things to go on about and to show you. We're going to be doing a little bit of an update on things like the Lotus, the Rover, more importantly, that Land Rover and the bailiff scenario. We're going to be doing a techie on the V8 there. So interesting day, guys. Stay tuned. Got the V8 in action, mate.
Yeah, we do.
Done your dummy build.
Done the dummy build. You can see there on this one, it's pretty much at top dev for that one, but that's roughly where they sit, sort of just below
So
the
slightly below the
face.
surface. Nice.
Yep. I'm so happy with that. So this morning I've fitted all the pistons onto the rods.
Yeah.
Being careful to make sure they're on the right way because these rods
Well, these are handed, aren't they?
Yeah, so on the crank, they sit in pairs.
Okay.
So at the minute, I'm just putting one side in, but the other rod will go on there.
I see. So if you have a look at that rod down there, look, you can see that it's offset slightly. And one of the ways to tell is you've got a little pip down here on the cap.
Yeah.
And those pips go together. So the other rod will go opposite. So the two pips are facing each other.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. And the reason for that is if you look down there, number one bore is offset sort of that way, and number two is off to the other side. So
we'll try again, mate, before we were rudely
cut off by
the bloody battery running out. Never mind. So you've got what we're calling this, mate. We're calling that
1357. Doing all of this side first, mainly because the other pistons and rods were still cooling when I started doing this.
Okay.
So just letting them cool down.
And these are all gauged up.
Yeah, got about, I think it was about 1.8 thou.
On the big ends?
On the big ends, yeah.
Nice. Similar on the mains, I think.
Yes, it was, yeah.
A little bit tighter on the mains,
yeah,
but that's
tighter,
a good thing if it's, because it's a performance motor and a big old crank.
Yeah.
You want a little bit of a tighter clearance, really.
Well, it's not overly tight. We run it on a lot of stuff like that, so.
Yeah, that's fine. And it's a nice wide journal, so lovely job, mate.
Yeah.
Well, guys, first things first, I've been cracking on with the old Figaros today, but I've got this thing chomping out on the mill. This is an A-series head, and you're probably thinking, well, what the hell are you doing facing this on there? Well, the reason is because at the moment, our milling machine over there is good for a cut on aluminium because you can go on a fast cutter speed, but with cast iron, where it goes on a slow speed or a slow feed, it tends to stop halfway through. It's not the end of the world because we're doing the cast iron ones over on the grinder over there, which gives you an absolute fantastic finish anyway on the cast iron, and we always used to do it on there. We should do it on there, really. But this head has to have 2 mil took off it under the customer's instructions. So rather than set about grinding it all day long, what I'm doing is just chomping 2 mil minus 0.1 or 4 thou, and then I'm just going to finish it on the grinder. So just a lot quicker. I can take 1 mil cuts off this thing, probably more actually, but just to be on the safe side, 1 mil cuts. It's done in 20 minutes, and while it's chomping, I can crack on with something else. So that is why it is on here, guys. So as you can see, I've done all the blasting. I actually thought there was 3 blocks, but there's 4 blocks for the Figaros. Done most of the blasting and the cleaning. There's the V8 look all wrapped up. We'll come to that in a minute. And you can see I've just got a box full of clean bits in there. So the only thing really to do now is to rebore the blocks. Isaac's going to fit the pistons, or the new pistons, to the rods and just check the oil pumps, and then all good. So guys, update on the Land Rover. That is the V6 Land Rover that has been sitting here for quite some time. In fact, 7 months finished. So just to recap, it was sitting there for 7 months since we invoiced it. It was a complete engine overhaul of a V6 3 litre, I think, 3 litre Land Rover Discovery engine. You know, the usual one with the faulty crankshafts that play up. Land Rover will probably say different. We know different. They tend to just break or do an end or something like that, or do a main, spin a main, usually break really. So yeah, they got big crank problems. So this engine came in, I would say getting on about 9 months ago, something like that, probably a bit over that, for the full overhaul. So we got in touch with the customer, give him an estimate, etc. Very clear through WhatsApp message at the time, because he didn't have an email, apparently. And we cracked on, got the go-ahead, did the engine. Then it sat there. We were getting sort of threats for it to be picked up and what have you, but he actually paid no money. We sent him 2 invoices, one for parts, one for labour. It was our own fault at the time, which we don't do now, but I sent him the invoice for the parts, etc. He didn't pay it, but we cracked on anyway, whereas now we would just stop it, pull the plug, and wait for that payment for the parts at least. But anyway, we didn't then. And it sat there for ages, guys. So unfortunately, we had to go through the money claims on the .gov website, whatever it is. We managed to get to the point where he didn't respond. So it was a press the button to get a CCJ, which we did. The CCJ was then issued. Still no response from the customer. So we got a High Court bailiff, basically. They were in the process of getting a High Court writ to go and collect the debt for us. Obviously, there was storage and storage charges and what have you. We were at that point where it was just about to be, the debt was just about to be collected. And then weirdly enough, the customer got in touch with us, said he was booking in the car for the 3rd, which was yesterday, and he's going to be paying the money. He then started messaging, sort of picking with the original invoices. I did a video the end of last week. You guys very kindly commented down, give me your views and said, look, don't deal with him, just deal with the bailiffs, let them do their thing. He's just trying to stall time, basically. And then very strangely, I said to him, forget it, I'm not dealing with you anymore, I'm just going to go through the bailiff. And then Saturday morning I woke up and in the company account, he'd paid all 3 invoices. So for the charges, the original invoices, everything, and said that the engine was going to be picked up Monday. So I said, well, let me just speak to the bailiffs, because it's a very unusual situation. So I rang up the bailiffs yesterday morning before it was collected, and they said it's absolutely fine. If he's paid everything, you crack on. You're not going to owe us any money and blah-de-blah. The only thing we lost was the 90 quid, I think it was, something like that, for them to go and get the High Court writ, etc. But we sort of incorporated that in the invoice for the storage charge, etc. So he's come and picked it up. We also did what a couple of people suggested and get the person that collected it to sign, saying that he'd collected it, etc., on behalf of the customer. That's exactly what we did. So we have that all signed up. And the engine is gone, guys. So we've got paid, engine's gone. I suppose that's good news. We got our money in the end. So yeah, pretty happy. All we got to do now is get rid of that Rover, which is unfortunate. We would rather the customer just come and picked it up and paid us what he owed us. But yeah, it's one of those guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But I think it's good news, really. Had another couple come in, mate?
We have indeed.
JR Vehicle Solutions?
Yes, I think so.
Those boys there, they're the ones that periodically send us an Ingenium to liner. And I do believe this is another. Got a complete bottom end here. So I'm not sure whether we've got to build this up or not. I don't know, but I'm assuming at this stage, I'm going to have to get in touch with them again. But it's liners, because we've got a bit of a catastrophe going on there, mate. You can see the pistons looking not so great. Probably an injector issue, maybe.
Yeah, you can just see it there.
So I do suspect that is probably going to be a liner job.
Most likely, yeah.
So we will we'll get that one stripped, and I'll get in touch with them tomorrow. But yeah, seem to be hearing more of these Ingeniums now, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we've got a little Caddy engine, or a short motor, from the same people.
So which one is this then? Is this wouldn't be a PD, would it?
I think it's like a little 1600 one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little Caddy. Don't know, got the engine code in there. Suspected crank gone on the big ends. That one and that one look a bit black to me.
Yeah, it's weird. That almost looks like a new rod, weirdly.
Well, yeah, either that or they're all... But he's suspecting the crank's knackered on this. He said that they can get another crank, so just let them know. So that's the first thing we'll be doing. Obviously, first thing's whip the crank out, make sure all the mains are okay. Cosworth. So these are the the rings for the BDA or BDG, whatever it is. So we've got the rings, so that is the top and the middle ring, mate. We've got the all control rings, which I know they're a bit grubby, but actually are pretty good, and they haven't done a lot of work. But John has been looking through the Chords Rings catalogue, one of his old Fall Into Bits catalogues, and apparently the all control ring is exactly the same as an 1850 Triumph Dolomite. Which would make sense because this is 1850, so it's same bore size, 87mm, 4mm thickness, and a 3-piece ring the same as that.
Perfect.
So,
in theory, that should be right then.
We're going to ring Thorntons in the morning, see if they've got any available, and go with it.
So the issue we were having was that because it's such a unusual oil control ring.
It's an unusual ring layout. So you've got 1mm, 1mm, and 4mm. So usually, it would be sort of 1.5, 2.5, 3, something weird like that. But this is an unusual one, and the only ring layout we can find to do with the Fords or the BDAs is the 83.5, whereas this is 87. So
yeah, that won't fit.
No.
So hopefully we found something that is an option to use.
We have indeed.
Instead of reusing the old oil control rings.
Exactly. I personally don't think there'd be much trouble with those, although, as I say, the vehicle is not doing any real work. It's a bit of a collector's piece
the show car, isn't it?
But yeah, we may as well order those rings if they're available and not too expensive and see what they're like.
Yeah, have a look.
So I think that's it, mate, for one day and one video. Probably going to be back maybe tomorrow.
Hopefully tomorrow. I feel like we need to get back to normal a little bit.
I feel so. I've been so busy out there with the machining the last 4 or 5 weeks. It's been crazy, isn't it?
We've been meaning to do it, but then...
I've really enjoyed it, actually. I've really enjoyed getting back to work. But we have had a lot of machining to do, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I've left you, I feel very guilty, mate. I've left you to it in here.
It's fine, mate.
Pumping out the engines. John in the cylinder head room. That's it. Hopefully back tomorrow, guys. Have a great evening. Cheers.